The Young Sheldon writers are amazing, but even they sometimes need help to improve a scene, and the cast are there to do it.
This is not the day to go crazy.
How did Raegan Revord's traumatic experience reflect in her acting? Why did a piece of furniture almost ruin a scene, but eventually make it better? And what feature of Meemaw wasn't planned by the writers?
How old are you? And I got my answer.
Raegan's real-life anxiety. Season 6 showed a rebellious side of Missy. She finally had enough of her family ignoring her and ran away from home. The real fun began when she called her friend Paige to join her.
Let's pay and get out of here. Or let's not pay and get out of here.
Missy looked happy and relaxed the entire time, but at one point she got pretty nervous.
Slow, should I speed up? Don't speed up, what are you doing? I don't know!
In this moment, the actress wasn't really playing. Shortly before Raegan had to film this episode, she and her mom got into a car accident on their way to the set. A driver under the influence crashed into them. Luckily, they weren't injured. But for weeks after that, Raegan experienced panic attacks when she had to get into a car, and especially if she saw another vehicle approaching. So the anxiety on Missy's face in that scene was completely real. Thankfully for Raegan, she had a huge support system on the set. And the co-star who helped her the most was McKenna Grace, who plays Paige. If I started to panic, she would pause everything and just help me laugh and just hold me, the Missy actress revealed. And here's a funnier improvised moment with her. Punch him in the... Remember the episode where Missy broke gender barriers and joined the baseball team? She eventually became pretty good too, but the first game looked pretty iffy, at least at first. Yet you can't really blame her, because it definitely seemed like that boy was trying to hit her with the ball. But Missy wouldn't be Missy if she didn't let him have it. And she promptly took revenge by beating the boy up. Turns out, the scene didn't go entirely as planned. Raegan got a bit carried away while punching that poor guy, all because she had so much fun filming it. I think it was such a powerful moment. I love how Missy stood up for herself, she said. Raegan is totally right, and it would be hard not to get carried away with all that encouragement from Meemaw.
Hit his head! Punch him in the nuts!
We just hope that the boy was okay after filming that scene. Now let's talk about Missy's brother and the main character of the series, Iain's funny antics. Sheldon is so smart that he sometimes forgets to behave like a kid. But in the second season's episode, an 8-bit princess and a flat-tire genius, he finally remembers how to have fun. He and Meemaw become addicted to a Nintendo video game.
Right behind you, monster! Sam! You're losing life points! Do something!
Most of this scene was scripted, but Iain got so hyped that he added a lot of his real excitement and emotional reactions. For the young actor, it became his favorite episode of the entire series. I love acting like a typical kid with my Meemaw, he commented. Iain's enthusiasm really shines through in the scene, and you can understand why. After all, he normally has to learn complicated lines, work on the set, and promote the series most of the time. So it's no wonder he relished the opportunity to behave like the kid he is. But of course, Iain had fun in other scenes too. For example, he got to demonstrate his real-life dancing and singing skills in the episode where Sheldon thinks of quitting science.
You won't find him hanging around my door.
It wasn't too hard for him though, as he's always loved Broadway. And it became one of the things that connected Iain with his on-screen sister, the twin bond. When casting actors for a new project, everyone hopes for natural chemistry, and sometimes they find even more than that. The strong bond between Iain and Raegan is a perfect example. Both of them frequently say in interviews how much they're alike in real life. The Missy actress once even commented that they're literally the exact same. We have so many things in common. We both love our stuffies, musicals, animals, rocks, she shared. And they're even both vegetarians and proud of it.
Vegetarians! We get the job done! Wookie, 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 wookie!
All of that certainly wasn't planned by the writers. They just got immensely lucky to find two actors who happen to have such a deep connection.
We're having the best time ever, right?
Yeah, it's so much fun. I love it.
But still, other things would get in the way of the cast sometimes. A chair that wouldn't cooperate. Do you remember the episode where George and Meemaw have an argument about her secret brisket recipe? It begins as a silly thing, but eventually turns into a full-grown scandal. And after George and Georgie attempt to steal the recipe, they try to look like nothing happened and act cool. But unexpectedly, a chair wouldn't let them do that. If Montana looks a bit weird to you here, it's because he is trying his hardest to keep a straight face, and he's barely successful. The crew needed about 30 takes to film this scene as Montana kept giggling. Eventually, the showrunners decided to keep the take where he was on the brink of bursting out laughing. It made the scene even funnier and more natural, don't you think? Another actress in the series also made her contribution for her character to look as authentic as possible. Meemaw's signature style. It's hard to imagine her looking any other way now that we're so used to her hair and makeup. But it turns out that the writers had slightly different plans for Meemaw in the beginning. First of all, she wasn't supposed to have gray hair. It was Annie Potts' idea to keep her natural color as a reminder for women to accept themselves.
I think it's a moment for all women to be okay with who they are.
The actress knew that from her own experience and wanted to share it with others.
I myself had recently just stopped dyeing my hair because it was like, who am I kidding?
However, Annie's suggestion didn't get the green light from the showrunners right away. At first, Chuck Lorre refused as he planned for Meemaw to have the same hair color as Mary. But the actress wanted her character to be totally authentic and insisted on the gray. Eventually, they came to a compromise when the writers agreed to see what it looked like. So it was up to Annie to create Meemaw as she saw her, and she added an important inspiration to the image.
Dolly Parton in Steel Magnolias.
When they put it all together, the hair, makeup, and everything else, Lorre was finally convinced. Indeed, it was the right decision, as this kind of authenticity became an important part of the character. But did you know that Annie also has an unexpected connection to her on-screen daughter? A real-life family. As a fan, you probably know that Zoe Perry is the daughter of Laurie Metcalf, who played Mary Cooper in The Big Bang Theory.
I definitely never imagined I'd be playing my mother at a younger age.
This wasn't planned by the showrunners, as Zoe even had to audition for the role. The writers genuinely liked her acting, though. And eventually, we got a real younger version of Mary Cooper, with a similar voice and mannerisms. But there's more. A fan on Reddit recently found a photo of Annie Potts at 36 years old. Now, compare it to Zoe Perry at 35. Don't they look similar? I'm pretty sure that the casting crew didn't look at those photos while choosing actresses for the role. So, once again, it was pure luck to find two women for the roles of mother and daughter who resemble each other so much.
Didn't Oscar Wilde say all women become their mother?
It's happening sooner rather than later.
In this case, it appears that they also become their on-screen mothers. Which unscripted moments surprised you the most? Share in the comments below. And if you want to learn more about the Young Sheldon cast, watch our other videos.